The last episode we went out spearfishing with Tim. This episode we tick some major jobs off our to-do list. We install a Watermaker.
It's whisper quiet!
And upgrade all of our electronics before heading into the marina to pick up our biggest upgrade yet.
Just a little plumb bob. Measure with your arms, no problem.
Since the last episode, we've put our boat back together and Michael installed our 80 litre an hour 240 volt Watermaker. Whilst we'd love to have a 12 volt system, this was the most affordable to us at the time.
We got a Watermaker. We got the parts from Brett Swan, the Watermaker man. We've got a high pressure pump, all the hoses, a 5 micron pre-filter, a carbon filter for back flushing. What else we got? 40-inch membrane.
Okay, so we'll walk you through the install of the Watermaker. So we've got a through hole down there near Michael, which is where our saltwater tap comes from.
So yeah, the salt water's going to come in here, track under the floor, come up under here. This is all below the waterline, so we don't need a boost pump. That will go through the 5 micron filter, through under all of that to
through the pantry.
the high pressure pump, which we've installed behind that grate there.
Which is under our fridge.
That's a massive storage area behind there. So I built a shelf and put the high pressure pump there. And then from the high pressure pump,
It runs down there.
the salt water, turn the salt water intake into high pressure salt water into the membrane, which is going to sit here in the housing. And then the fresh water is going to come out from there to this valve in here that I've installed, which is going to be to the test tap. So we'll check the water there first. And then once the water's all good, we can just flick that switch over there and that'll divert it to the tanks, which I've already plumbed in.
Look how happy you are.
Michael Takish Plumbing. Don't call us, we'll call you. So we've been putting this Watermaker together for a few weeks now. Been trying to stop a few leaks just on the low pressure side of things. I've stopped making excuses and we can't procrastinate anymore. We're going to test it. So fingers crossed, it's not like a high pressure gurney spraying salt water all over the boat.
I know. Do we have towels and sponges and stuff in case it is? Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. If this doesn't work, Michael's going to be really defeated and I feel really sorry for him. He's been working on this for ages and ages.
Full of confidence here. Okay, so I'm going to open the seacock. That's going to bring the salt water into the boat. Because it's the first time, we've got to run it for half an hour just to get rid of all the chemicals and preservatives that came with the membrane. And then
From the factory.
yeah, after half an hour I can switch this over and that will get diverted to our tanks. Started. That's the discharge line. So that's the product water.
Have you checked there's no leaks?
Yep.
Wow. Jenny's full bowl, hey.
It's whisper quiet! Fresh water? Salt water. Alright, so we've ran it for 40 minutes to clear the lines, and now I'm going been 40 minutes, so I'm going to divert it now to the tank.
Woohoo!
This is it. Okay, here we go. The old diversion to tank.
Hey there.
What?
Would you like to do the honours?
Oh yes, where is
It's
it?
over there. I'm a bit excited.
It was time to blast our boat song, but due to copyright infringement, this is us dancing to some lame royalty-free music instead. With big plans to eventually take Papau offshore to explore remote reefs for diving and spearfishing, it was vital to install a good sounder, wind instrument and an AIS transceiver. We put in an order and it was just days away from arriving.
Okay, so I got a little bit excited about getting the B&G gear next week. I cut out all these templates to see how we lay it out. I cut them out and then Michael's like, oh, don't do that now. Talk about a man who can't do things in halves. What are you doing, Michael?
Well,
You've ripped the whole console out.
you can't lay it out properly and you can't tell really. And we're going to have to prepare this area anyway, so we're going to have to glass it up or...
Yeah, except now we don't have a radio or a sound.
No, they're all on the inside. What do we got here? Oh, far out, look at the size of them. They are massive.
Oh my gosh. I hope they're the right ones. They look massive. Are they 9-inch?
This is like a plasma screen.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this is going to be so sick. Look at it. No more 2 people to read the depth.
As we fill that dash in, our depth reader is under here. So I've got to relay it to Michael, who's steering. 2.2, 1.5, 1.3. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so good.
Oh, let's have a look.
And we'll be able to see both hulls too, so I won't anchor on a deep bank like we did the other week.
Yes.
Gosh, I can't wait to see that.
Oh, they're skinny.
Oh, wow, that box really compensating.
Oh, that looks so schmick out there.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you, B&G.
You sound a smell.
Oh dear.
Oh.
We have a lot of work to do. Alright, Michael, give us a run through of what you've been up to the last few days that we completely missed on film.
So I've prepped this dash here for the new electronics. Took all the old fittings out, took the old plotter out, radio, just dash was just full of holes. So what I've done is I've sanded it back. I have sanded the inside, taken this piece of ply here, lined it with some Ziploc bags. The epoxy doesn't stick to it. Screwed it down on top, and then I've made up some epoxy bogged the inside, put a plug of ply, 9mm ply, glassed that in place, and it's gone off overnight, and hopefully we'll have a nice flush surface to recut and reattach what we want, hopefully. We had a bit of a disaster around of epoxy. We should have a nice flush surface to repaint and recut.
How confident are you?
Oh, I don't know. Let's have a look. I've never done this before.
Big reveal back.
Pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
That's really flush.
not bad.
Happy with yourself?
Let's have a look at this big one.
That was the easy one.
Oh no.
Dear. There's a few gaps. Well, it's alright though. You can just plug that up and sand it.
Alright, Michael. What happened?
Well, that's what happened. We ran out of epoxy right in the middle of it all. It was, yeah.
We filled the remaining holes and painted the dash with the matching 2-pack paint. She was ready to go.
What's
Two
his wind
Triton 2
instruments?
displays here, so one will show maybe the wind direction, that'll maybe show the speed or the current. We've got a plotter, and then we're going to have a full fish finder. It's not a sailing vessel, it's a fishing vessel with sails.
Yeah. There we go, looks good, get started. Michael's been a busy man out here.
So sick.
Standard, working into the night.
After installing all the screens, we moved on to the VHF unit.
The VHF S unit, that's going to go here. And we wanted the VHF inside anyway, because you'll probably be using it where you want to hear it. And
That whole unit does the AIS, so we don't have to get anything separate. Yes.
yeah, so it's basically the same. We'll just use the GPS for the whole system, including the plotters.
Yeah, so it's just one, it's incorporated into the system.
And it'll be hooked up to NMEA 2000.
Now that we had all the screens installed, we needed to run the cables. Luckily, we could use the old VHF cables, so we only needed to swap out the antenna on the top, as well as install a new wind instrument that would talk to the system.
What's going on there, Michael?
So, today's the day that I've been dreading for a while. We're going to pass the cable for the new wind instrument down through the mast. First, I'm just going to cut this little S-bend off here, which goes into the cabin, because trying to pass the cable through there is just going to be a choke point.
Okay, so we're just about to send Michael up the mast to install the wind instruments, or at least run the cable. That's the main goal for today. We do have the B&G guy coming in 2 days' time, so we want to give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room in case something goes wrong. We basically need to run this cable down the mast. How we're going to do that is we're going to take the positive tricolour cable.
Yeah.
And we're going to disconnect that from the bottom, attach two spectra lines.
So I've just attached this spectral line to this cable. So, and then I'll make a nice taper so it can slide up and down, no worries. And then Jess will just feed these through as I go up and pull it.
Once Michael was at the top, he pulled through the existing cable with two new fish lines attached.
Alright, stop there. Lock it off, that's the top.
You want to start pulling slowly?
And just make sure when those lines go up that they're not twisted.
This is the most nervous part of this job, because if it comes apart or gets stuck, then we've created a whole new job for ourselves. Luckily, it all came out as planned.
Yeah, that's one hurdle done.
Michael kept one fish line up there to attach the new cable to and sent the existing cable back down.
Alright, you want to slowly start pulling that one? Yeah, this is just the original cable.
Woohoo! Success!
Now that we had the original cable back at its starting point, it was time to squeeze the new wind instrument cable down the mast. Michael attached it to the spare fish line and sent it down to me.
Yeah, pull.
Yeah! Woo! Make sure it can't fall through. We got the cable through, pretty happy with that. Just going to thread it through the deck fitting and yeah, just get it ready to be hooked up.
Michael quickly swapped out the VHF antenna, and with everything installed, the only thing left to do was hook it all up. So Michael decided to make the most of his current situation.
Got the old rooftop bar here. Not too bad. We got the wires through, which was the wind. I just got to put a new plug on the end of that VHF tomorrow. Okay, enough down from here.
Michael put in a solid effort, spending about 6 hours in total up the mast. We were ready for the final push. We had the B&G guy meeting us the following day to splice the old transducer from the previous system and to double check that we'd installed everything correctly. In the meantime, we had to get back to the marina to meet the technician.
Woohoo! How good is this? 7-8 knots. So good. Travelling by sail. It's so quiet, except that wind generator, but so nice.
Unfortunately for now, it was back up the creek to the boatyard for what would hopefully be our last time. We'd booked 2 nights, one to finalise all the wind instruments and the other to pick up a very important addition to our boat, a tender.
So we're just in the marina. It's my birthday today. Still working though. It's no different to any year that I'm usually working my birthday, but at least it's on the boat. So just about to send Michael up the mast to do the final install, hopefully, of the wind instruments. So he's going to put that on and then resplice the VHF plug that ripped out the other day, and then the B&G installer will be here in a couple of hours, so hopefully we can get it all done before then. How'd you go, Michael?
Good, really good.
They've installed it all?
Yep, John from Southern Seas Marine came. Super nice guy, super knowledgeable with all the B&G and Simrad and all that gear. So yeah, he got it all sorted, spliced the 2 cables. We gave him a run through of what we'd done, and he said, yeah, just put that there, put these there, you know, pretty much what we'd had. And yeah, it works. Wind works, depth works.
On both sides?
Both sides.
Nice.
A few weeks later, we offset the transducer on our depth sounder.
Walk back. Walk back more.
Walking.
More. 3.2 meters. 3.2 is the real depth, and 2.6 is what it's saying. So you minus that, 3.2 minus 2.6.
0.6.
0.6. So the transducer is 600 mil below. You just do the offset now, and that'll tell you the depth. Menu, let's have a look. See how intuitive the system is. Pages, calibration, maybe. Boat speed, depth. Depth offset.
Wow, that was
There
easy.
you go.
3.3.
What do I have on there?
3.2. Yee, look, 3.2.
There you go. So now we know the real depth. And we know that we draw 900.
Yep.
So don't let it go below a meter.
You could say we were pretty stoked to finally tick this huge job off the list. It was all downhill from here. If you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe and ding that bell to turn on notifications. A huge thank you to our patrons for their ongoing support. Join us next episode for the absolute final push. We upgrade our solar, pick up our epic new tender, I lose the plot,
I don't know why anyone will choose to do this for a living.
and we get way too close for comfort with an out-of-control houseboat.
We've got a problem with our engine.
Go
Go forward! Hey! Instruction manual won't need you.
What? That looks about 6 knots. English US, English UK. UK.
UK, sorry America, but your spelling sucks.
Yeah, so we just had our friends Trav and Tash and their son Vinny on board yesterday, and Tash made him a sandwich, and then before we knew it was gone, and we thought, did he throw it overboard? We couldn't see it, and we thought, oh, he must have eaten it. And so I'm just down here, down low under the fridge, installing the Watermaker, and I look over at the filters just here, and I go, oh, what's hidden in there? He stashed his little sandwiches in there. Only he would see because he's about that high. It's a perfect little cubby hole for him. Anyway, that's lunch. Cheers, Vinny.
How deep it is. What were we doing before this, Michael?
Just a little plumb bob. Measure with your arms, no problem.
Captain Cook did it for, you know, hundreds of years. He only ran into one reef.
To give me an easy job where something just goes in easily.